getting the job done in that matchup there. All right, let's get into some March Madness. This is where the fun begins. Although I did fail to cover 2 games yesterday in college basketball by a measly half a point. And that is why Hook Watch is over, because we went like 10, 11 days without losing by half a point, and it's feast or famine. We get buried by 2 games yesterday by half a point on the leans. Hook Watch officially dead until I decide to turn it back on. I'll need a little bit of a push from the folks in the comments section if you want Hook Watch back on. But I'm not a big fan of Hook Watch because I lost 2 games by a measly half a point yesterday. All right, next game. Let's get started here in college basketball. March Madness 2019. We have Iowa at Cincinnati. No, it's not at Cincinnati. It's Iowa taking on Cincinnati. Neutral site game. 12:15 Eastern tip-off. Cincinnati open -3. Total open 139. We're seeing movement on the spread upward. We're seeing movement on the total downward. Right now, Cincinnati's -4, total 137.5. So once again, the Bearcats open -3, up to -4. Total open 139, down to 137.5. 64% are leaning Cincinnati, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Iowa's +160 on the money line. Now, if you like the Hawkeyes in this matchup here, they're covering just 36% of their games as the official road underdog. They're also they're also ranked 226th in college basketball in road scoring. Now, Cincinnati, they're 11th in points allowed. They're giving up just 62 points per contest. They've also been winners in 8 out of their last 10 straight up. Now, total-wise, Cincinnati 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Iowa is 3-1 to the under in their last 4. Give me Cincinnati -4 and the under 137.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, 12:40 Eastern tip-off. Ole Miss open 1.5, total 143.5. We're seeing movement downward on the spread and downward on the total since this one opened up. We're looking at Ole Miss -1, total 142.5. So once again, the Rebels open 1.5, down to -1, total open 143.5, down to 142 and a hook. 51% of the consensus is leaning toward Ole Miss, 56% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Sooners are +101 on the money line. Now, if you like Oklahoma in this matchup here, they have lost 6 out of their last 10 straight up. They've also failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9. Oklahoma ranks 219th in defensive rebounding. They're also 164th in road offensive scoring. Now, total-wise, Ole Miss is 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Oklahoma 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Give me Ole Miss -1 and the under 142.5 in that matchup there. Next game, we're looking for Arizona State. Yeah, we're skipping a bunch. I see that. Arizona State taking on Buffalo, 4 o'clock tip-off. Buffalo open 5.5, total 155.5. We're seeing movement downward on the spread and upward on the total, 4.5 and 157. So once again, the Bulls open 5.5, down to -4.5. Total open 155 and a hook, up to 157 even. 53% are leaning Buffalo, 62% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Sun Devils are +180 on the money line. Now, Arizona's covered just 5 out of their last 11 as the official road underdog. They also rank 228th in offensive free throw percentage. Put them to the line, Buffalo. Buffalo ranks 5th in scoring at 85 points per contest on average. They're also 12-0 straight up in their last 12. Nice little 12-game winning streak for the Bulls. Now, total-wise, Arizona State 6-2 to the under in their last 8. Buffalo 5-3 to the under in their last 8 themselves. Give me Buffalo -4 after buying the half a point and the under 157 in that matchup there. Next game, whoa, bug. Wow, it was like one of those 1,000-leggers. I hope he doesn't come back. Oregon taking on Wisconsin. I'm putting my foot up. Oregon at Wisconsin, 4:30 Eastern tip-off. Brock Page has bugs. I'm terrified right now. Wisconsin open 1.5, total 117 and a hook. Since that one opened up, we're seeing movement upward on the spread and downward on the total. Right now, Wisconsin's -2, total 116.5. So once again, the Badgers open 1.5 up to 2. Total open 117.5 down to 116 and a hook. 58% are leaning Oregon, 59% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Ducks are +115 on the money line. Now, if you like the Ducks in this matchup here, it's going to be a tough one for you. They rank 223rd in road offensive scoring. We're looking at 63 points per game on average in that category there. They also rank 200th in field goal percentage. They're shooting just 41% from the field. We're going to put the foot down. Oh, man, I'm sketched out. Anyway, let's dial it back in. Wisconsin, 6-2 straight up in their last 8. They're also 8-3 against the spread when favored away from home. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Wisconsin is 4-3 to the over in their last 7. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Wisconsin Badgers -2 and the over 116.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Washington, Utah State. Now, I know a lot of folks personally that have Utah State going deep in this one. We'll have to take a look and see what I think about this game. Washington, Utah State, 6:50 tip-off. Utah State open 2.5, total 134 and a hook. We're seeing movement upward on the spread and upward on the total. So Utah State taking a little money in the early going here. They're now -3, total 135. So once again, the Aggies open 2.5 up to -3. Total open 134.5 up to 135 even. 55% are leaning toward Utah State, 52% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Huskies are +135 on the money line. Now, if you like Washington in this matchup here, the trends don't support your wager either. They failed to cover in 6 out of their last 7. They've also covered just 4 out of 11 games, taking on teams over 650. So, playing in that conference that was kind of down this year really has taken a toll on them and their backers. Now, Utah State, they're covering 60% of their games that tipped off at the current point spread. They're also 8-2 against the spread in their last 10, and they are 17-1 straight up in their last 18 games. Now, total-wise, Utah State 75% to the under at the current posted total. Give me Utah State -3 and the under 135 in that matchup there. All right, couple games ago, and we are not covering North Dakota State and Duke. Not going to cover that one. We'll be covering plenty of Duke in the next couple of days. But anyway, I want to take a look at UCF VCU, 9:40 Eastern tip-off in that matchup there. And we saw a flip of the lines in this matchup already. The Central Florida Knights opened as the 1-point dog with a total at 127. And since those markets opened this one up, once again, I told you, we saw that line flip. UCF's now -1. Total moved down to 126.5. So once again, UCF open +1 up to -1. Total open 127 down to 126.5. 60% are leaning UCF. 51% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Virginia Commonwealth, VCU, is +101 on the money line. Now, if you like VCU in this matchup here, just keep in mind, they rank 162nd in scoring, and they also rank 250th in three-point shooting. They're also covering just 33% of their games played at the current posted number. Now, UCF on the other side, Central Florida, they are covering 71% of their games that tipped off at the current point spread. They're also covering 86% of their games, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. Now, total-wise, VCU is 71% to the over, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. They're also 67% to the over in their games played at the current posted total. I like the Central Florida Knights in this matchup here. This might be one of those games where we see 2 or 3 overtimes. Give me UCF -1 and the over 126.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Ohio State, Iowa State. Don't count Ohio State out. They hang tough late in games. 9:50 Eastern tip-off. Iowa State opened as the 6-point favorite, total at 141. We're seeing movement downward on both the spread and the total. 5.5, 140. Once again, Iowa State opened 6, down to -5.5. Total open 141, down to 140. 57% are leaning toward the Cyclones, 55% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Buckeyes are plus 200 on the money line. Now, if you like Ohio State in this one, I think we're in agreement here. Ohio State is 27th in road points allowed. They're also 2-0 against the number in their last couple of games. Meanwhile, Iowa State has covered just 4 out of their last 9, and they rank 149th in offensive rebounding. So really struggling to get the boards when they have possession. Now, total-wise, Ohio State, just 5 out of their last 15 away from home, actually got over the total. So not so sure we'll see a whole lot of scoring in this one. Hopefully it doesn't go to OT, but I think Ohio State can take it close. I'm not saying they're going to win outright, but I think they can keep it within a few buckets. Give me Ohio State plus 6 after buying the hook and the under 140 in that matchup there. All right, next and final game for our college slate, right before we get to some NHL action and shout-outs. But anyway, we have St. Louis, the Billikens, taking on Virginia Tech, 9:57 Eastern tip-off in that matchup there. Vatek opened 10.5, total 126.5. We're seeing movement downward on the spread and downward on the total. We're looking at minus 10, 126. So once again, Virginia Tech opened 10.5 down to minus 10. Total open 126.5 down to 126 even. 53% are leaning Hokies, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Billikens of St. Louis are plus 470 on the money line. Now, if you like the Billikens in an upset here, well, you might not be in a bad spot. I don't know if they're going to win it outright, but they could keep it within double digits. They're 6-1 straight up in their last 7, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10, and they rank 12th in the country in offensive rebounding. And we're not done there. They actually rank 19th in points allowed, giving up just 63 points per contest. Now, Virginia Tech, on their side of things, they rank 231st in offensive rebounding, and they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. So I do think St. Louis backers do have a fighting chance in this matchup here. Now, total-wise, Virginia Tech 2-0 to the under in their last 2. St. Louis 3-0 to the under in their last 3. I'm going to lean toward the underdog in this matchup here. I like the St. Louis Billikens plus 10, keeping it close, and the under 126 in that matchup there. All right, let's go ahead and slide into some NHL action, and I'm covering a full slate of NHL games tonight because there's just 2 of them. So let's get started. Minnesota at Washington, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in the nation's capital. Washington opened as the $1